Hello and welcome to Movie of the Year, the only podcast that has the science and the screaming to determine what is the single greatest movie of any given year. 1991 is over. We did it. It took us literally 9-10 months, but we picked a winner, and now it's time to start anew.
Already forgot it.
What was it?
It was Silence of the Lambs, fools.
Oh, yeah, Silence of the Lambs. Classic cinema.
Our number one seed from that year.
And the Best Picture winner.
And the Best Picture winner, yeah.
Which I think is a rarity for us because, as we discuss almost every episode, we're much better and cooler than the Oscars.
Much better.
This year is 1982, a strange year. Not totally sure why we're doing it, but I think that will become clearer as we go on. I'm going to be honest with you guys right now. My name is Ryan. I'm going to host.
That's as honest as you can be,
You've
buddy.
never been more honest.
I'm going to be the host of this show. Here with me, as always, is Mike.
Hello.
And Greg.
Hello.
And after this episode, they are going to compete for my friendship and eternal love. Currently, I love neither one, and we'll see who I love after we do our first episode. I'm going to be honest. Now I'm going to be honest with you guys.
Okay.
Okay.
So all that was
part.
bullshit.
That was all lies.
All right. Well,
Now-
now I'm going to start believing you.
Now it's truth. Including our 1975 season, I have never seen fewer movies of a
Yes.
year going into something.
What is that? Because I didn't expect. I'm a much younger man than both of you, and I've also seen so many 1975 movies versus 82.
Here's what I think it is. First of all, we all, with 75 season, we famously all ran out and watched a bunch of the 75 movies right before it started. And I think that also got us more acquainted with the movies that were in 75 as we decided what we were going to see. Like, I had never heard of Barry Lyndon before the 75 season, but before the 75 season started, I had watched it. But with 82, the tops of the trees are very familiar to us because they are the movies of our childhood. But the rest of them, we were just little babies or non-borns yet. And so, like, I don't think you're getting the same feel for the movies that you would in a lot of the other years. They're in a weird in-between period where they're not old enough that, like, our parents talk about them all the time, but they're not new enough where we have an awareness of them.
Okay, so you're not saying that 82, you don't think 82 is an anomaly or like really a year full of non-famous movies. You just think in this era, if we were to do 81, 83, 80, 84, 85 we have done, and Brazil won, and that was a lot more movies that I'd seen that year than this one. So
I think it's okay. Honestly, what I think it really is more like is that the good movies of 82 are so good, and the bad movies of 82 are so bad that there didn't leave a lot left for the conversation for just like kind of your mid-tier movies.
It's so mid.
Movies.
I definitely know what that
so
means.
mid right now.
The mid discourse
Based.
going on.
Is being mid based at this point? Are you a Chad?
No
It's
cap.
so hard to know. Mike, you are, I would say, of the three of us, more of the connoisseur of camp, corny. Like, you enjoy the corniness more, the cheese. You can put aside what something should look like and just be more in the world of what it does look like.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to help you out this year more than any other year? Because is 82, like, is it the corniest?
It's
Like
super
era?
corny.
Ryan and I like steak, but Mike likes cheese steak.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
With whiz, though, not with melted, right? Like,
I like
What is it?
provolone. You do
Okay.
with or without, and they will just scream that at you and not explain if you don't understand what they're saying.
and I like, so, because I'm sort of from a different part of the city, I like steak with water ice all
Mhm.
over it. That's what we do in my neighborhood.
That's what we do on the hot summer days.
Really cool you down.
Give me some cold steak. What is that called? The perfect steak?
The perfect steak.
The Tim Robinson pouring water.
Oh, sloppy steak?
Sloppy
steak.
Slop them up.
Yeah.
They'll tell you can't, but there's nothing they can do to stop you from ordering a steak and some waters.
That's my favorite tweet. Dust my wets turned into a skit. Anyway, yeah, Mike, do you think it's going to help you out this year? Do you think that you're going to have a better appreciation, or do you think that you might get some of these cornball movies into the Elite Eight?
I do think that, and I think more than anything, the two of you will finally have more appreciation for me and who I am.
Oh,
Okay.
interesting take.
All right, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I can
'Cause
see that happening.
I went through a phase in my life where I was like, I hate camp and corniness, but like you can't push away who you are. And eventually
Yeah.
I have embraced it.
Were you putting on guy liner as you were saying this?
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of camp. Get more body glitter.
I mean, I think that bringing up Barry Lyndon is sort of the perfect amalgamation of all of these thoughts about movies, because no movie has ever been more classically made. Even classical movies, Barry Lyndon is more classically made.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it's fucking campy as shit, and it's corny all the time. You know, I think that's why it went so far in our brackets, because it's kind of got everything. I don't know if we're going to see that here. I think that we might just see these are the classics. You know, we have Werner Herzog. We have Rainer.
I would like to see the baby.
We have a Rainer Fassbinder. We have, I think, a Godard movie is in this bracket.
Yeah, keep making up European names.
I'm not going to wait on that one.
Oh! I wish there were points.
And then we also have 14 horror movies in the bracket tonight. Earlier in this feed, you should check out, Mike and I hosted Taylor and Jordan on a show where they went over all the horror movies with us. I don't know. Does horror have a shot this year?
I think so. I feel like I have a lot more ammunition than, oh no, heard of that one.
That poster looks cool.
Did they make horror movies in 82 that were not campy and corny? I feel like for a while they just weren't making actual just like films that were scary. They were making instead kind of like schlocky, fun, campy movies.
There's some at the top of the list that are close to slam dunks. The ones that we talked about mostly last night were one was called The Slumber Party Massacre. So,
or cue the winged lizard.
Serpent, Mike.
Serpent.
Fucking serpent. Okay, this is part one where we just used to do this for fun, but now we're recording it because why have conversations that aren't recorded? We're going to take it down from 64 to 32 right now. This might be a short show. We're going to do it lickety-splickety. Next week, come back, and we will go from 32 to figure out what are the 8 that are in contention for Movie of the Year 1982. We will also probably shout out a bonus episode and a lot of other ones. Who knows if those will actually become bonus episodes, but
depends on how loud the screaming is.
yes, we do have a screamometer here.
It's just Vanna White and how high does her arm go on the chart.
Why did I agree to do this?
Shut up, Vanna. So, yeah, let's take a little break, and when we come back, it's your number 1 seed versus your number 64 seed. All right, gentlemen, let's fucking do this. A Good Marriage, or Le Beau Mirage, is a French film, and it is about a marriage directed by Eric Rohmer, who I believe is still alive and kicking. It's going up against Blade Runner, your number 1 seed.
I have a quick question about Blade Runner. We're doing a theatrical release, right?
We should talk about that
at some point.
Yeah. I have no idea. I've seen 4, I think.
The theatrical release is the worst of them by a lot, and it's going to dramatically change its chances to win based on which version we do.
My vote. I've been around the podcasting block a time or two, and I've done the theatrical release before, and I'd rather do the good one.
Yeah, dude. Okay, if we can all agree to that, I think we're gonna have a lot better year.
Let's do that sweet,
and I
sweet
think
DC.
Probably it should beat this Good Marriage movie, which I bet is also one of the better movies in the bracket.
It is French,
Yeah.
though. All good marriages are the same,
dude.
Okay.
All good marriages are the same. All bad marriages are bad in their own unique way. A French flick about marriage, I bet, is super interesting, but against Blade Runner, the most important movie to me of all time, maybe with the exception of Terminator 2. I'm not sure. Or no, I am sure. Yeah, it's not for me. I'm voting against it.
Your number 33 seed, yeah, Blade Runner moves on. Your number 33 seed is I can't think of another movie in this bracket where fuck anything that comes against it, right?
Yeah.
And I know that there are a lot of people who like Blade Runner a lot more than me, but anything in its wake is screwed.
I'm so excited to watch it again. I'm so excited to see those crazy sets. Like, they actually built up the city in model form.
Oh, the city looks so
and
fucking
it's like
good.
it's
Is that a Lego?
It's a big. Oh, like have they made it into Lego?
Yeah, that should be a Lego.
That should be a Lego, though.
And congratulations to Blade Runner, which is probably going to get finally the first podcast about it in podcasting
finally.
history.
Dudes will talk about Blade Runner. Is Harrison Ford
It's never happened.
Is Harrison Ford a replicant in it? Is Deckard a replicant? You know what? We're gonna tell you at the end of the show because we know.
Your number 33 seed is called White Dog. This is one of the few horror movies that we talked about on the bracket preview with Taylor and Jordan, where they had literally nothing to say.
Yeah, they moved on fucking immediately from White Dog.
Now, your number 31 movie is Francis Ford Coppola's One from the Heart, which is a musical where he recreated Vegas in a hangar He told the studio it would cost about $5 million. It cost about $100 million. Broke the studio, broke him. He had to like start making wine because of this movie. I watched this movie recently. It's there. It has its issues, but it's interesting for sure.
I love that at a certain point, and maybe his whole career, but Coppola started making movies as self-harm, and I find that fascinating, and that is my vote.
Greg?
Yeah, definitely that one. Everything you said about it sounded interesting.
Just the whole like it's built in a hangar. Vegas is built in a hangar, but it's never like supposed to not be. You know, like he's going for that look.
Oh yeah, because if you're making a musical, right? Don't you kind of want the sets to look set-ish?
Next of Kin is your 49th seed. This is also a horror movie. It features a hand coming out of clouds onto a house.
Okay, the other one
is Grease 2.
Oh, no!
Yes, baby!
Honestly, this is not because I'm ducking a horror movie, because I would never do that because of my integrity. Grease 2, Mike said a lot of interesting things, and I think we should pursue it.
I am absolutely choosing Next
over
of
at the
Kin.
Patreon. So it's up to me?
Yeah, it's up
What's
to
it going
you.
to be, Mike? Are you a coward?
If everybody wants to know what I had to say about Grease 2 to make Greg come my way, you should go to patreon.com/yourpopfilter. But also, clearly, it's Grease 2.
Oh!
That's a bummer. That's a bummer.
Mike and I are the Grease 2 because we get slicked up before every show.
I don't understand, but I did.
Friction makes podcasting bad.
Now, your number 17 is The Dark Crystal.
Yes.
That's a movie that we did not talk about in the horror episode.
But maybe could have, should have.
It's going up against your 48 seed Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker.
No, okay. Fuck the Gelflings. Fuck Dark Crystal. We have to do a show.
Gelflings? How could you say
we have to do.
Do you remember which one Nightmare Maker is?
It's one of the ones. Greg, you can't turn down. You're a homophobe if you vote against Butcher Baker Nightmare.
Oh no, is that true?
It's queer horror and it's very important. And I definitely remember the smart things Jordan and Taylor had to say about it.
Well, I'm not going to stand up here and be a homophobe.
The best titled movie in the history of movies.
Yeah, I do agree with that point.
That's true. And what's it going up against again?
The Dark Crystal.
Oh yeah, but the Dark Crystal. None of us are Dark Crystal people, but that is something that like we barely missed. Like. Especially because it involves a lot of things we like, which is like cool puppets and great practical effects. But
yeah,
mine is not a Dark Crystal house, and I don't sense either of yours was as well.
We were a Labyrinth household.
Gosh.
You had to choose 180s, Henson.
Yeah, why is that?
Mine was The Black Cauldron. Remember that classic Disney movie?
That cartoon.
Oh yeah, the most messed up of all Disney movies.
I'm just kidding. I never saw it.
Ryan,
I watched Dark Crystal not until high school, and I think that movie's stupid as hell.
Shit. Okay, let's go to a vote. The Dark Crystal or Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker, Mike? Butcher Baker Nightmare
Gary
Maker,
Oldman
Mike.
in Butcher Maker Nightmare Maker Mike. Maker Mark.
Greg?
This, I may not be able to really say this based on what Mike said, but I am not a homophobe. But I would I would like to watch Dark Crystal.
Yeah, I mean, like, it had a show a year ago, 2 years ago, that was highly...
Is it weird that I kind of want to watch that show, and so that's part of why I want to watch the movie?
But that can't...
What, you're just going to watch a show for fun? It's not
exactly.
Unless it's assigned to you by the board, Greg.
Yeah.
You can't watch it. My apologies to Mike and to Jordan and to Taylor, but Dark Crystal moves on.
And to the queer community,
worry.
I suppose.
Yes.
Bonus episode.
Bonus episode, it's on the list. Mike, are you keeping track of this, by the way?
Of bonus episodes?
Write down the bonies.
I'll write down the bonies.
Okay, so your next matchup is number 8, Tootsie. So we're talking about something that is in the top 8 seeds. Going against number 57, Quest for Fire, or as I knew it as, the Caveman movie.
And this is basically like the that one chapter of Powers.
Yeah, or that one part of 2001.
This is just an entire movie featuring cavemen.
Yes.
Okay, versus Tootsie, the 8th seed, and one of the most important movies, or like one of the big movies of this time. And a movie that I'm very interested to watch and less interested to record myself responding to, because I really have a lot of questions about this movie going into it. This comes from a time where it was just so funny to put a man in a dress, and I don't know how much Tootsie is like dealing with gender and
right.
acceptance and everything. So
how nuanced.
Yeah.
I mean, I think more than like a skit show, like Hee Haw from, whenever that was on.
This is Doubtfire.
I think that it is actually. more qualified than Mrs. Doubtfire. There are no run-by fruitings in Tootsie.
Oh, fuck that then. Quest for Fire.
And if it makes you feel better, we're going to get to a woman dressing like a man in a comedy soon. So
Okay, well, Tootsie.
Tootsie. Mike?
Tootsie.
No cavemen for us. All right. This is a big one. This is me versus Mike, Greg. And you're going to have to come in and figure this out.
What?
Your number 25 seed is Annie.
Okay, it's a Hard Knock Life.
Your number 40 seed is Airplane 2, the sequel.
Oh, wow. Airplane 2.
They go to space. They figured out the
They go to
Fast and Furious
space.
thing. And the
Way quicker.
Yeah.
And I feel like Airplane 2 is like, if you enjoyed the jokes of Airplane, you are going to enjoy seeing them in the movie Airplane 2.
some of them are here.
Because we've got those jokes from that first movie. Versus Annie? I don't know. That feels kind of big. First of all, everyone knows this. I've talked about it a lot on the podcast. I've got curly pride. I look out for my curly brothers and sisters everywhere.
You're a curly
And
girly.
I was called Annie my entire childhood, and it did not embitter.
You have red hair.
It did not embitter me. Well, yeah, but it was curly. They're kids. They can't. You know.
People are so lazy.
Their cruelty, yeah, was very lazy. I was also fat, so usually they would just move on to that. But Annie, that feels like a huge part of the culture.
Yeah. What does 2022 have to say about Daddy Warbucks? Let's dig into
Who
it.
is that?
Fucking Tim Curry and Bernadette Peters crush.
fuck.
Carol Burnett? Are you fucking kidding me?
And I just recently saw the live version on NBC, which has Titus Burgess in it.
Oh really?
Yeah, dude.
Who does he
Annie?
play?
He was
The titular Annie?
he's like I don't know. He's some character that's a scammer. I can't like he
Rooster.
Yeah, he wants to adopt.
That's Tim Curry.
Yeah. Okay. See, so that'd be very
Who's Daddy
interesting.
Warbucks?
Daddy Warbucks was I just totally can't remember. Oh no, you know who it is? It's piano crooner Hank
Azaria.
not Hank Azaria.
Hank Hill.
Not no.
the famous crooner Hank Hill.
He's a crooner who plays
Oh,
piano.
Connick Jr.
Yes, there we go.
Okay.
In this one, it's Albert Finney, who was Ewan McGregor's dad in Big Fish and was Aaron Brockovich's boss in some fucking, I can't remember what
Of
movie.
course he's in Big Fish being so finny. Right.
I'm so fucking happy this is an appointed show now. Actually, I think Greg will be cleaning up.
Here's the reason that I'm going to be cool with Annie moving on over my beloved Airplane 2, the sequel. It's directed by John Huston, director of The Maltese Falcon,
Oh yeah.
Treasure of the Sierra Madre, and The African Queen.
And didn't he collab to
Whoa.
create Angelica Houston?
He did collab. That was a
Dude,
collab.
yeah.
that was a John Huston collab.
Different collab. He collabed with his daughter to have his daughter's baby in Chinatown. He is,
Oh my God! Really?
yeah, that's him.
That's
He's
probably something I should know already.
father, sister, husband, brother, all the slaps. So
Nightmare Maker.
is Annie moving on?
Hell yeah!
Yep.
Come on, Greg. Just Annie's moving on. We don't have to be that excited.
Hell
about it.
yeah! Curly pride.
Sun will come out right now, bitches.
Let's get twisted. Curly pride.
Now, your number 56 seed is a movie called Y'all.
All right.
Y-O-L.
Is this Hee Haw the
you
movie?
love the expression. Now see the movie.
It's about when 5 Kurdish prisoners are granted 1 week's home leave. They find, to their dismay, that they face continued oppression outside of prison from their families, the culture, and the government. This is like a real rickety independent movie where they were probably shooting illegal shit the entire time. Kind of has made a name for itself more recently. Not a big hit in 1982 because it's foreign and we weren't into that shit. The other one is foreign as well. It's Das Boot.
Ah, the movie about the boot. You have to admit that if Y'all was made by Jordan Peele next year, you would
Yeah.
line up outside
You'd
the
buy it.
theater to see it.
He could just recreate it. I'm super down for Prison Rumspringa the movie. That sounds dope.
It sounds like it makes a lot of interesting points, but Das Boot, this is like a remake of the. Because wasn't there like a historical cinema Das Boot like back in the
I mean, Battleship
the day?
Potemkin is. I don't know if Das Boot is remaking anything. No.
Oh, okay.
But it's a very famous movie. It's a submarine movie that, again, it's my favorite subgenre. But yeah, this is a movie that I remember when I was a kid, and in the Tarantino era, where like people were just fighting for these movies to come back and get new life.
Yeah.
Das Boot was one of them. They were like, nobody has heard of this movie. This needs to come back, 15 years after it was originally released.
Let's boot this along. And let's remember that we always feel like these movies are going somewhere, and then they always get buzzsawed in the next round. So there's just such a thing as being too precious. But I say Das Boot. That y'all sounds interesting, but
Hey, y'all.
hey, y'all.
I say, hey, y'all.
All right. We're going to do one more before we take a break. This is probably my favorite battle of all time. 41 is Porky's. Mike, do you know what Porky's is?
Do I know what Porky's is? Ryan, I've seen Porky's is.
Tell us about it.
Very good.
It is like it's such a weird, especially how it was pitched to me. And you're walking down the aisles of Blockbuster as a kid, and you're just like, I guess this is a Revenge of the Nerds type movie.
Or Animal House type.
Or Animal House. You're like, and then you watch it, and it's just these pervy fucking college kids sneak into a strip club, and then Porky himself tries to kill them for it. I don't remember why. I just know like a jaundiced, evil strip club owner wants to kill these kids because they snuck into a strip club. But I think it's probably horrific.
Oh, this is, but not a horror movie though.
No.
It's a broad comedy. It was like this generation's American Pie, which is another movie that has obvious problems. But yeah, it's about people who there's a lot of spying on women showering.
Yeah.
There's a glory hole, and I think it's Kim Cattrall who grabs somebody's dick. No, because she's hot. They would like that. There's like a bigger. The gym teacher grabs the dick and doesn't let go, and then she tries to say she wants to grab all their dicks to figure out whose it was.
This is one of those sex comedies. It's like women are kind of like a different type of person, a lesser type. But we want to sleep with them, don't we? Isn't that curious? Doesn't that create a lot of hijinks? And that now to our modern sensibilities where we're like, wait a minute, women are full-fledged people. We're like, there's a lot of problems here.
So I'm super stoked to wrestle with movies like Tootsie or the movie I was alluding to earlier, Victor Victoria, where the woman dresses like a man. This is not the sort of like problematic that I feel like dealing with on this show.
No.
Yeah, 'cause there's nothing redemptive about this movie.
Right.
It really is premised on like women not being fully developed feeling individuals.
It feels like they made these kinds of movies are like, look, creeps watch porn. Here's Porky's. Like
it's going up against your 24th seed, Conan the Barbarian.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yes.
Boom. Let's get those swords out.
It's been an entire season since we've done an Arnold movie. Let's do another one.
Too long. Also, I've never seen this, and this is his OG movie, right?
No. Come on, Mike. I mean, he was years before this, in the 70s, he was cast in Stay Hungry, and then he was in the Roger Corman movie. I believe it was Roger Corman, Hercules in New York. He made dozens of movies before this. Fuck, man.
Hercules would love New York. There's a lot of great Greek food there.
Let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to kick out 8 more movies. Hey, guys, thank you so much for listening so far, and let me just tell you that everything ahead of this commercial is much better than what came before it. That's my guarantee. While I have you here, let me tell you about a website. It's called yourpopfilter.com, and it's everything you need that's related to Pop Filter. Everything Mike, everything Ryan, everything Greg, everything Cassie, everything is there at yourpopfilter.com. While you're there, go to yourpopfilter.com/Amazon. Make that your new Amazon bookmark and do your shopping from there. That way, we get a little piece of the action, and Amazon doesn't. Make sure you're also listening to everything that Pop Filter has to offer, which includes the Superhero Show, a podcast that covers every single TV show that's based on a comic book or comic book property, and Movie of the Year, where we sit down and try and figure out what is the single greatest movie of any given year. That's Superhero Show, that's Movie of the Year, and that's yourpopfilter.com. Rate, subscribe, review, bye! Your number 4 seed is a horror movie.
Uh-oh, Greg.
Greg, I'm a little nervous that you're going to have to watch some scary stuff.
This is what one is this?
Before we get there, let's talk about number 61 seed, Night Shift. I cannot believe this movie is so low. This is a classic comedy where Henry Winkler and Michael Keaton turn a morgue into a whorehouse.
That sounds
What is more 80s than that?
I
believe it's Ron Howard directing.
They bring in prostitutes or
some sort of necro.
I don't want to spoil it for you.
So no matter what, we're gonna have people interacting with dead folks, right?
I think so, yeah.
And Lucy Dacus made a great soundtrack song to Night Shift.
What's it called?
It's called Night Shift.
I love that one. But it's going up against number 4's Poltergeist.
Poltergeist.
Which is Steven Spielberg produced, Tobe Hooper directed. Kind of an all-timer, I think. I think this one is going to be unavoidable.
It feels to me like a Poltergeist should not be that scary, but then it feels like it's going to be very scary.
It's so scary, Greg. They're here. All right? They're here.
And also, it feels, besides being a horror movie, it feels like one of the biggest horror movies, not just of 82, but if you just said to somebody, name horror movies, they're going to hit Poltergeist early in that list, right? So...
Yeah, I mean, I think that, and I think it's because it was, had a high budget. These movies up until this point didn't have a high budget, but now, from The Exorcist to 82, it's Poltergeist. Poltergeist is the first huge horror hit that I can think of in, 15 years in between.
There are some visuals where I'll just be walking through my day, and it's just remember Craig T. Nelson doing this? I don't want to spoil anything. I'm like, oh shit, thanks, brain.
Yeah, I have a couple in my head. It involves clowns, braces, and tequila. Those are 3 I can think of right off the bat.
A pool that's not finished yet. That's a big one from me.
This movie's fucking dope. And anybody want to vote for Night Shift? I would put Night Shift on the...
Put it on the bonus.
Put it on the bonus. It's a good one.
Straight to the bonus with your Night Shift.
The next matchup, your number 36 seed is called Smithereens. What do we know about this one, Mike?
Fans of Smithers.
People will get blasted to it.
Blasted to Smithereens. That is true.
Finally, a movie about all the little pieces that exist after something blows up.
This is New York punk movie. This is the director of Desperately Seeking Susan with Madonna. Sort of like a music movie from that era. It's going up against The Secret of Nim.
Oh, wow. That's got, again, I was not a big Secret of Nim, in a Secret of Nim household, but there are people who swear by that as, a great kids movie. It is so dark and heavy.
It's very dark.
A lot of the kids' movies from these times are okay, kids, listen. You're going to grow up in a world that is going to actively fall apart. So we're going to start getting you ready for this by showing you things that are kind of horrific because you're going to need that because when you're 40, things are basically going to be coming to an end.
I think it's also just part of this, crescendo of childhood darkness or darkness in children's movies that, eventually had to be stopped. We invented... new ratings and Million Mom March or whatever the fuck that is to get them to slow down because this all leads to, at the same time, we have Return to Oz. Do you guys remember that fucking movie?
Yeah, dude, that's messed
Fairuza
up.
Balk.
With Fairuza Balk. And all of this and Gremlins was pitched as a kid's movie and it's just a fucking shit show. Secret of Nim, I think, holds its place there of all right, everybody settle the fuck down.
And now all these Republicans are upset because all the movies that come out are hey, accept yourself. And they're like, you can't say that to my kids.
Boo! Don't accept shit.
They have to hate themselves until they're the kind of person that I can respect.
Does anybody know what Smithereens is?
Yeah, it's all those little pieces.
It's like a musical. The guy did Suddenly Seeking Susan.
She's a woman. Secret of Nim moves on. Your next matchup. Your number 52 seed is Alone in the Dark. Mike, this is a horror movie we talked about last week. Do you remember what this one is?
So this is about not prisoners, but maybe a mental institution, and the lights go out, and the 3 prisoners, a doctor they liked goes away, and they convince themselves that the new doctor killed him. So the lights go out, the power goes out, and they start to hunt down the new doctor.
Oh, but it's the old doctor, huh? It's the doctor they like.
And it sounds dope. And then they're super famous actors in it, right? Character actors you'd seen a bunch of stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, Academy Award winner for Best Supporting Actor Jack Palance and Academy Award winner for Best Supporting Actor Martin Landau are in this movie.
And Jack Palance got it for City Slickers.
He did.
Too.
No. God damn it.
Just sorry.
Now I'm on record saying that I think he gets it for City Slickers too. The Legend of Curly's
And you look
Gold.
like an idiot.
But Martin Landau did win for City Slickers 2, The Legend of Curly's Gold. It's going up against your number 13 seed. I want to know if you guys think this is low or high. Tron.
I think for zeitgeistiness and for effect on film industry, I think Honestly, I think 13's right on. I was gonna
Yeah,
say it was
actually,
low, but I
dead
think it's
balls
like
accurate.
exactly where it needs to be. Yeah. I don't know how long it's been since you guys have seen Tron. Tron is
Never.
very boring. Tron is an extremely boring movie.
Is
with not
Jeff
a lot
Bridges
to
in it,
offer.
or is he just in Tron New?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's these little baby Bridges. Is like.
Oh,
he's-
okay.
Yeah.
I've never seen Tron. I've never seen Tron Legacy. The only Tron thing I've witnessed is the one part on an old Disneyland ride called the People Mover,
People Mover.
where they would
dude.
send you
Mover's
through
rocks.
Tron Land.
Man, back in the day, if you needed to get an HJ at Disneyland, People Mover was a pretty good guess.
We called it
Pretty
the
good
People
bet.
Maker, if you know what I mean.
Because hand
Your
jobs
A-
make babies.
Your HJs are weird.
He does them strong.
It wasn't even the girl who was giving it to me. I got distance, brother. All right. Did Jordan and Taylor convince you that Alone in the Dark
Yes.
needs to move on?
Yes, I think my vote is Alone in the Dark.
Greg, is Tron so important that we need to move it past a horror movie?
In the context of film, yes.
I have to agree.
Yeah.
I think that
Don't worry.
it has a sequel.
Even for me, I guarantee Alone in the Dark is like better, but Tron just it had like the HJ part at Disneyland. It changed effects, and it launched a couple of sequels. There's actually a second sequel, I think. I think there's been 2 Tron movies since
Tron, Alone in the Dark, and the two worlds collide.
It would be so hard to do the Alone in the Dark in Tron though, because everyone's wearing those glowy suits. There he is. He's over there.
All right. I don't even know. Diva is a movie I've heard of, and it's French.
I bet that's good, dude. I bet it's good. Anytime you've heard of a movie that came from another country, it's because it's so freaking
That shit's good.
Yeah.
It's your number 45 seed. Your number 20 seed is Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
Oh, dude, this is one of the good Star Treks.
Kick rocks diva.
Here's what's fun about this. It's one of the good Star Treks, and then afterwards you get to be like, that's one of the good Star Treks?
What the fuck are the other ones? I've never seen it, but my entire life, like, it's always been referenced as like, if you need to like Star Trek, if you really want to know why it can be good, get Wrath of Khan, Ricardo Montalban, all
Yeah,
fucking
dude.
greased up.
Greased for days, dude. And like a lot of people think like the recent remakes of Star Trek are like way too actiony, and they're like not like in the spirit of that. Watch this movie. It's all about how William Shatner is racist against a whole alien race because one part of it killed his kid, and he just screams about it the entire movie. And then the second there's a chance to, he starts using phasers and lasers to fight off the bad guys.
Phasers
So
and lasers,
and
Greg?
lasers, yeah, dude, both of them.
All right. So Star Trek 2, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Nobody wants to fight for Diva. Your next matchup, your number 60 seed is Evil Under the Sun. This is directed by Guy Hamilton, who directed Goldfinger, Live and Let Die, Diamonds Are Forever, The Man with the Golden Gun. So
Okay.
this is
He
not a
looks-
James Bond movie. The tagline is "Evil is everywhere, even in paradise."
Oh my gosh, no, not Paradise.
I know you were hoping that it didn't hit
I
paradise.
just thought that one
That's
place. Yeah.
What White Lotus was about, though, right?
Is that why they paved it and put up a parking lot?
Yes, absurdance. It's going up against Rambo: First Blood. Now,
Oh,
this
First
mo-
Blood!
this movie is technically just called First Blood, and this is the independent drama
Did you First Blood?
that came out before the next two sequels, which were just fuck that first movie. We're just going to murder as many people as possible.
This first movie asks the question of like, hey, remember all those guys we sent to go do that thing and then it didn't go so well and then they all came back and we didn't support them at all? Is that going to be okay? And First Blood says, not really, no.
Probably not. I am excited to see this because the only Rambo movie I've seen is Hot Shots Part 2. So I'm stoked.
I'm excited to see a movie about like an unappreciated Vietnam vet who comes back and can't forget his past, but then also does not join the white supremacy movement because we could have used a few more of those.
Yeah, where were you guys at fucking January 6th?
This is 1982 is not a true 80s year
Right.
because despite having a Rocky and a Rambo and a Friday the 13th, we did not get a Nightmare on Elm Street. So
Whoa, what happened?
I'm not going to be able to move you on
Lazy.
1982.
Who was
Yeah.
asleep at the wheel? And who was tormenting them?
I think First Blood is a fucking. I haven't seen it in a while, but I think it's a fucking terrible movie.
It's boring as
Oh,
shit.
fun.
Dude. It's a lot of him walking around in the woods.
And
I can't remember the last time we did a boring movie. I'm stoked.
And yet, it's still hard for me to move on. Evil Under the Sun. Evil is everywhere, even in paradise. So, Rambo: First Blood, everyone.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I could see it not making the final 8 though, even though that sounds a little unusual.
Okay, this one's a fuckery. Your number 20 8 seed is Basket Case. Mike, do you remember that one?
Greg, Basket Cases, there's conjoined twins that get separated at birth. The doctors want to just kill the little
That's
tumor.
just called twins.
Oh, well, like they get separated quickly after
And
birth.
one of
I
them's
guess.
Danny DeVito, and the other one's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes. But imagine Danny DeVito is carried around in a basket, and he always tells his big twin to kill people
Oh no!
around the mean streets of New York City in the 80s.
Oh no, that's awful.
And it's by the guy who made Brain Damage. I'm not just quoting Taylor from last week.
It seems like you are. I guess if you're saying you're not, then you're not.
If you were going to, you'd be like, hey, guys, guess what? It's made by the guy that made Brain Damage.
Your 37 seed is Missing. This is remember the movie Ransom with Mel Gibson? Give Me Back My Son?
Yeah.
What if instead of Mel Gibson it was Jack Lemmon? This is not a comedy. It's directed by the Greek, I want to say, director Kostas Gravis.
I'm down. I'm in.
Over conjoined head basket.
I'm doing
movie?
Basket Case. Greg, it's a puppet, and a lot of it you see it from the puppet's point of view.
I just Jack Lemmon in a more serious role. That sounds just a little more interesting to me than a gross little guy in a basket. I don't know why I assume he's gross. I guess because he's murderous.
And he's a head in a basket. There's no handsome heads in baskets.
I thought, did they try to do the thing where they just put the basket guy on the back of the other guy's head? Because I've heard that works out just fine.
Yeah, that gives you the power to fucking chuck chairs all across police stations.
The aim on that guy's chair throwing.
Stu could chuck a chair. And if you think what he was going with, like how his arms work and everything,
Yeah.
that's even more impressive.
Thinking about scenes that are just burned into my head.
When you see him throw it, you're like, dude, come on, what are you doing? That's never going to work. And then the camera follows the chair perfectly, and it's a fucking strike.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mike. Missing moves on. It's a political thriller. You know how we love that here.
I think there's a lot of like comedic humor when you're like, like this next one is missing, and we're like, but where is it? Like,
yeah, Ryan kept talking too fast for me to get that in.
we were both gonna jump in and like, hey, did you look it up?
I'm really sad that you guys didn't have the time to go.
I was trying to get my carton of milk out.
Yeah, that'll be a real sensitive show for all of us. Honestly, this is the first one that like hurts my heart.
Okay.
Number 53 is The World According to Garp, where Robin Williams sort of Forrest Garps his way through like a lot of feminism being a big deal and a lot of these events through the 60s. It's just about like his life, and he's got a very weird, odd life. And typically, this is the kind of movie that usually gets me out of there. Who's the guy who wrote like Simon Birch?
Oh, that movie sucked.
John Meany or something. It's schmaltzy bullshit, but it really, really, really works here. But it's going up against number 12, Fitzcarraldo, Werner Herzog's Fitzcarraldo, where they said, hey, Werner, we have effects we can use. I know that they like put boats on logs and took them up mountains 200 years ago. That's how they did it. But we have effects that we can use now. And he was like, no, we will do it the exact same way. And made everyone in that movie crew lift the boat like that.
That's my vote.
Verisimilitude is very
got a
important
vote?
to me.
Vote for the boat.
Yeah, I think I'm also gonna go the boat way because Garp is an interesting. I read the book, very interesting book, and it's an okay movie. But I don't think that there's gonna be a ton there for us.
All right, let's do one more before we take a break. Whew, this is a good one. Number 44. Your 44 seed is Class of 1984. Mike, do you know anything about this one?
Is this a bunch of punk kids killing people?
Yes, you do know everything that you need to know. Now, my obvious question is, did you see the first 1,983 of these to understand this?
I did.
Wakasha.
It's going up against Gandhi.
Oh, who would? It was like, don't kill people.
Don't, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like the
It's
exact
my
opposite.
So
movies.
not punk rock?
Is my whole deal.
He's
Does
like,
Gandhi? Does
don't
this
kill
movie end
people.
with Gandhi nuking somebody? Because that would really be the civilization end that I think everybody needs. Was there a real like panic about punk at this time where they were like, these kids are all gonna like start just killing
Yeah.
everybody?
It was 85 was Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah, a lot of the horror movies we did in 85 had punks as bad guys that were just as bad, if not worse, than the ghoulies that were around trying to kill people.
This is
Yes.
definitely made by people who did not know actual punks.
Yeah.
because like I know they look scary from far away, but like a lot of them are just soft boys. A lot of them are just like kind of pre-emo kids, and there was not any emo, and so just they didn't fit in, and so they put on plaid and safety pins. But I was never afraid they were gonna like do a purge or something like that. Like they're pretty ineffectual.
What do you guys want to do tonight? You want to just do a purge?
Should we do a quick purge?
Do a purge?
Should all crime just be legal for tonight?
Including murder?
When I mentioned the movie Gandhi, to you guys now, does it seem like, oh, that's a fucking slam dunk, that's making the Elite Eight? Or are you like, nobody's talked about that movie in a solid 15 years. Does this matter anymore?
Something, I guess, in between those two for me. Like, I have the original, like, oh yeah, Gandhi, that's like a big one, Ben Kingsley. But
my assumption is it sucks. So let's do it.
You know, it doesn't not. And I'm sure it's a well-made movie, right? Like, it's Richard Attenborough who directed this and created Jurassic Park. So I guess that's two different sides of the same coin. But like, it's so by the numbers, you know. That I think that's the problem, is that it was just like, we know how to do this thing. Let's just go out and do it. And there's beautiful shots and beautiful performances, but it's so like, close your eyes and think to yourself, I've seen Gandhi. You've done it. You've seen it.
For who Gandhi was in 1982, I don't think we're gonna like chew a lot and get into the man, right? It feels like just the further mythologicalization,
right? As opposed to like 10 years later when Spike Lee made Malcolm X and all sorts of decisions were made there. You know, like that was bucking everything against the biopic. But is Class of 1984 gonna take it down right now?
Yeah, Gandhi may eventually lose out, but also we would be missing a big chunk of 82. That movie like
did well at the awards.
Yeah,
82, Class of 1984. It's confusing. Get out of here.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep asking, like, what year are we doing again?
And like, there already is a 1984, and it's like, does that have anything to do with that?
Yeah, it's like 1984 Junior.
I honestly don't know. We should go look up these things. Do some. Let's just fucking do some research for once. So we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, the other half of the bracket.
Well, that is very, very funny, or very sad, and perhaps now you have something to think about, or very problematic, and perhaps we have something to think about. But in any event, I'm sure you have some reaction to what you're listening to. So why not check us out on the social media? You can go to Instagram or Twitter and find us at YourPopFilter. Email contacts@YourPopFilter. Hey, everybody. Keep watching them movies.
And we're back, and we have horror versus horror.
No matter who wins, we all lose.
One of them is your 63rd seed, so second from last. It's called Amityville to The Possession, or as Taylor and Jordan call it, the incest one.
The incest one. That brother and sister get down.
All right. Sounds like a skip. I did not know we had that in 1980s entertainment. I thought that was like something that the early 2010s gave us.
No, see, the literary class knew Flowers in the Attic, and I do think that started to infest within other genre things.
It's going up against John Carpenter's The Thing.
Oh, The Thing.
Kick rocks, Amity.
Wha-cham.
We're not even going to a vote. Now, Eating Raoul is a dark comedy I've heard about my entire life. Okay. A tasty comedy of bad manners.
Is it about cannibalism?
It's probably about cannibalism, right?
I think it's people who own like a laundromat and then also eat people.
Well, those go hand
got to
in
be
hand.
diversified in the modern economy.
It's going up against Cat People. Mike, do you remember what the number one thing to remember of Cat People is?
The number one thing to remember about Cat People is Skimbleshanks the Railway Cat.
Nope, that's a different
does
movie.
not make an appearance.
But man, Cats I think might have come out in 1982, so what weird timing.
It was the director, right? Isn't the director shocking?
The director is shocking. It's a horror remake of a 1940s movie by Jacques Tourneur called Cat People. It stars Ed Begley Jr. Let's get that.
Hell yeah,
well,
dude.
I think
Future
we legally have to.
Pop Filter Hall of Famer Ed Begley Jr.
And it's directed by Paul Schrader.
That's what it is.
Damn, the Shrades, Super Schrader. Damn.
I don't know if you've ever called him that before, but I fucking love it, Greg.
He's so big for this show. I don't think it could possibly be Cat People, but there's a lot of intriguing things coming together for that one.
Anybody want to do the cannibalistic laundromat movie.
No, cat people. Schrader's cat people.
Isn't the other one a way better movie? But that's okay.
I'm sure it's better.
Cat people.
Do you want to throw Eating Raoul on the bonus episode list?
Nah, I'm not that kind of guy.
This has to be the match of the day. It's a movie called Gregory's Girl.
Hey-o!
Is it about your
Always
wife?
nice. It's probably about Kelly.
That's your number 50 seed. Your number 15 seed is Diner, Greg's pick. This is some hot Greg on Greg action right now.
Greg on Greg.
Damn. Okay, this imagines a world in which Greg loves his wife and wants to marry her and is glad that he has, versus Diner, which is like the Greg is like, I don't know, guys. It's 1959, old ball and chain.
Listen to this description. Teenage knucklehead Gregory falls hard for Dorothy, a hotshot female player who takes his spot on the boys' school soccer team.
That does sound like something that happened to a Greg for sure.
That's the Greggiest story of all time.
He's all the way at the end of the bench. I guess we could just replace him with a girl. And I'm like, does this mean I'm not going to have to play?
Thank God.
I think we could have a really great show with Diner. And I hope it all works out so that we can do that. I think I would never vote against Gregory's Girl except in this one instance.
Gregory's Girl is directed by Bill Forsythe, who also made Local Hero, one of my favorite movies of all time. But Mike, do you want to go against the Diner here?
No, Diner.
I love
One
the
chant.
one chant.
Diner, and he just sits back down, puts his hands in his lap.
I made my point.
Okay, your number 47 seed is Death Trap. This is directed by Sidney Lumet, director of a Movie of the Year winner. If I remember correctly, the trap is set for a wickedly funny Who'll Do It. We're talking Michael Caine. We're talking Christopher Reeve.
Whoa.
We're talking Lakers superfan Diane Cannon.
Oh, Diane Cannon.
This is going up against Friday the 13th Part 3, in which a bunch of campgoers are killed at a camp, is I
What?
believe the description of that movie.
Michael Caine.
Sidney Lumet.
What?
Do your Sidney Lumet impression.
Sidney Lumet.
There you go.
Who is that? What did they direct?
Dog Day Afternoon.
Oh, I like that
yeah.
movie a lot. I think canonically my favorite movie we've ever covered.
I'm going to look that up real quick, but
To
I'm
make
pretty
sure
that's
that's the
true.
case.
Yeah.
That sounds
that's
right
on
to
IMDb,
me.
I think.
I think
Oh,
we
is
took-
it?
It's in the
know where
trivia.
You should go to check that out.
All right. Death Trap moves on. A number 47 seed. Okay, so let's talk about Ladies and Gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains. This is a music movie with Diane Lane.
Okay.
It's going up against Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Mike, do you remember all of the stuff we heard about Halloween 3, Season of the Witch? This is a movie
Underrated.
you've seen, right?
Much maligned. I saw it when I was like 8. It doesn't count. Much maligned. People hate on it just because Michael Myers isn't in it, but the horror freaks that we allowed on our show last week said it's much better than a lot of the Michael Myers movies. Sounds super weird and awesome.
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers.
It's so weird that their favorite killer didn't show up in the movie, and so they're like, you know what? I didn't like this one. We wanted to see that guy who kills everybody, but he wasn't here this time, so it was a bunch of witches. What are they trying to do? Are they trying to like bring him back from the dead? Does it have anything to do
No,
with him at all?
It started off as an anthology series of movies.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the first time they actually stuck to it. And I think Michael
Yes.
Myers is in every other one.
Yeah, now they're like,
pushed
okay, we'll
out
just make the
forever.
same movie over and over again. Thank you. That's what we wanted.
Greg, Halloween 3 or Ladies and Gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains?
I'm going to go with the Stains.
Mike?
Yeah, you're a Stain kind of guy. It's Season of the Witch for me.
Season of the Witch moves on. All right, we have a battle of two movies everyone has heard of. Your number 26 seed is 48 Hours,
Oh, wow.
starring Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte.
Oh, I fucking love this movie.
There's a buddy cop kind of premise where they have, 48 hours to solve a crime?
Yeah, to get...
If they can stop bickering long enough, right?
oh, my God. Are you reading the tagline right now?
I bet Nick Nolte says some things that would make us uncomfortable to hear.
You mean in the movie or just
black?
in
I didn't know that.
It's going up against An Officer and a Gentleman. It has that one scene. Does anybody remember what that scene is?
a guy?
Can somebody handle the truth?
Nope. That's A Few
No.
Good Men.
Oh.
It's- She's like working on a factory floor, and he comes in his like military dress, and he picks her up and like takes her out to the car because they're gonna go. But he like carries her out of the factory or something.
Who's the
yeah,
he?
that And it's Love Lifts Us Up Where We Belong.
It's Gere, right?
It's I think this is
Richie Gere.
Richard
four
Gere.
1982 stars. Like
Yeah.
it's Richard Gere, Deborah Winger, Eddie Murphy, and Nick Nolte.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, I thought you were saying All in Officer and a
All in
Gentleman. I was like,
Officer
that's
and
fucking
Gentleman.
crazy. And then Nolte and Murphy
They
just were like, we're going to do
repaired them
another
up.
movie.
Wait, who's the officer? Who's the gentleman? I'm Nick Nolte.
To me, it very firmly feels like Officer and Gentleman.
Really?
Yeah.
I am shocked by this, Mike.
I can't remember. I thought it was A Few Good Men. Like, that's how little this movie fucking has done anything.
It was pretty clear that you thought that.
Was it? Everybody got
Yeah.
that?
I said An Officer and a Gentleman, and you said, wait, is that A Few Good Men?
So I'm going to have to go with 48 Hours.
48 Hours definitely moves on. All right. Your number 55 seed is a Scott classic. Scott is my brother. He's 2 years younger than me, and he loves the fucking Beastmaster.
Beastmaster. I knew it was going to be Beastmaster, dude.
This is about a dude who can talk to animals.
When I think of Beastmaster, I mostly think of Chevy Chase sweating in bright red in his costume, screaming at people in Community.
Was there a Beastmaster episode?
No. Wasn't scripted either. That's just Chevy, baby.
They just turned on the cameras, and he was already doing that.
Now, I have only seen 2 Rocky movies. I guess not counting Creed. I've seen the first one and then Rocky Balboa. So I have not seen Ivan Drago, and I've not seen this one, which is I believe, Mr. T.
Is this Clubber Lane?
This is Clubber Lang. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But again, Greg, hold on. Going up against the Beastmaster. Continue.
Okay. I don't think there's iconic scenes from this one. I just think it's iconic that Mr. T is in it.
How many fools get pitied in this one?
Probably, honestly, Mr. T probably just pities Rocky Balboa, who at this point, like the subplot in all of the ones after the first one is just like, this guy's getting major brain damage.
And we were like, Stallone is such a good actor to act like that.
Because, man, you can hardly understand anything he says because he's so method.
Oh, man. And I know First Blood moved on to the next round, but there's a monologue at the end of First Blood that if the subtitles don't work on your TV, you're fucked. Like, you can't understand a goddamn word he says.
When he says the titular line, which I believe is "They drew first blood," he doesn't like enunciate at all. He's like, Tim Allen was like, "I just got the greatest idea ever."
And Nick
What
Nolte
if
was
he
like, I
had
can't
a
even
family?
understand what he said. I'm Nick Nolte.
I think probably the bigger movie is the Rocky with Clubber Lane in it.
Yes.
Right? Bigger than Beastmaster, Master of Beasts.
He talks to all beasts, and most of the time he talks to like 2 little minks or like ferrets.
Really?
Yeah, and I do remember, the only part I remember is one of the ferrets he has to rescue from quicksand, the star of every 80s movie.
I do remember the part where his garbage disposal is like a pterodactyl, and it looks at the camera and goes, "It's a living." So that sounds pretty cool.
All right, my vote's for Beastmaster.
Rocky 3 moves on. All right. This is a tough one. Holy shit. Your number 23 seed is Sophie's Choice.
How will we decide?
It's going to be so tough to decide because
I'm just going to sit back and let you guys say the same thing over and over
I
again.
feel like Sophie.
Oh! But Vigo's little buddy's in this, yes?
Vigo's little buddy, yes. The guy from Ally McBeal. Not the dancing baby, Mike.
No, what do they call him? The biscuit.
I mean, one baby dances at the end of the movie. Oh, trying to get away from guns. But yes, that Peter McNichol. There he is.
Thank you.
Wow. Very nice.
It's going up against the 42nd
Another
seed,
48 hours.
One of the only movies to ever have its sequel come out in the same calendar year.
This movie is, I believe, a Carl Reiner movie called Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid.
Dead men don't wear plaid.
It's a famous Disney ride based on that. This is a movie
anti-Scots.
where it's a black and white noir comedy where Steve Martin is the detective, and everybody he talks to in the movie is clips from other movies. Most of the time it's Double Indemnity, but there's probably like 20 movies in this movie, and so they'll get a lookalike from the 1940s movie
hell yeah.
and film it from the back, and then when it's filmed on them, it's the clip from the 1940s movie. It doesn't totally work, but it's insane.
That sounds like a bananas bonus show we'll do.
It sounds like it might be more fun when it doesn't work. And then we get to do the whole thing where, like, do the modern kids not understand Steve Martin's take on absurdist
That was
comedy?
fucking weird, right? People were just like, fuck King Tut.
I don't understand this, and it's not funny to me right now out of context, and so this is not funny.
There's
I
probably a lot
come
of
from the
slaves that
only
said that.
funny generation.
I know. That's comedy started in
Yeah.
2011 when I was born.
All comedy is perpetually refreshed every generation. Everyone knows this.
I mean, Mike, you said that it sounds like a good bonus episode. Do we want to do a show on Sophie's Choice?
No. Like, I thought this was going to be our opportunity to just kind of, like, slip on by that.
I don't know, dude. Like, I also don't think it's a good movie. It does
Sophie?
not deserve the credibility or the credit that it gets.
I think that's why I want to watch it, so we can finally put the pin in it, and people will change their opinions once they hear ours.
It is the more important. All right, so it's up to me then?
Yeah, sounds like it.
All right. I would love to do a Dead Man Don't Wear
We should
Plaid
think
bonus
about that.
show.
Should definitely go on the Bono list.
Now, your number 62 seed is a movie called The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
Let's do that one.
And is this Henry Winkler and Michael Keaton go down to Texas?
We could do a double feature of Night Shift in this. This is Burt Reynolds and Dolly Parton.
Hell yeah.
Three of the biggest boobs in Hollywood.
Oh, damn.
It's going up against E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
Oh. Well, bye, E.T., because we got three of the
Yeah.
biggest boobs in Hollywood.
Well, so it's the three of the biggest boobs versus the biggest nutsack in Hollywood.
Wow, E.T. Is E.T. gonna just gonna win it, everybody? E.T. is just gonna win?
I mean, it's Vegas says that E.T. versus Blade Runner is this entire season.
Smart
but
money.
Yeah. Okay, E.T. or Blade Runner, which movie makes you hungrier for Reese's Pieces?
Mac and me.
Best Little Whorehouse.
I'll eat her Reese's Pieces.
Oh, Mike. Jesus.
Mike.
Did I
Out
make
of-
this subtext text?
Out of reflex, I started to say Ryan, but I was like, wait, no, it's the other one. I feel like Marge. Bart. No, sorry.
Greg just
Lisa.
became our mom.
Your number 30 seed is The Last Unicorn.
All right.
Mike, you know
Weirdly
what
a
this
big
is?
deal in my life. I would
Yeah.
go to visit my dad every summer, and I don't know why. This was just, we would always fucking rent The Last Unicorn. And this is another brutal, dark kids movie.
Is it clear to all listeners, even though I'm not sure he's ever mentioned her, that Mike has an older sister that absolutely dictated
based
what they
on
watch?
Grease 2 and The Last Unicorn, man.
Grease 2. Your gasp when I said The Last Unicorn.
Also, I might be confusing it, but isn't this where the evil wizard's armies are rotoscoped Nazi footage? Or am I mixing that with a different
I don't
movie?
think that's true. This is the one where the bad guy at the end has a giant Red Bull, drinks it, gets fucking pumped up,
Gets
and
wings.
Wings for days, flies into the sun.
then
Uniforms become the ocean.
he created like this fire bull, and that bull ran all the unicorns into the ocean, and they died, and that's why it's the
Oh
last
my
one.
gosh. That's why it's so hard for my wife and I to find a unicorn.
Yep.
What is Last Unicorn going up against?
Cue the winged serpent.
Okay.
So a movie that was very important to me as a child, or a movie that will become very important to me as an old man.
Mike-
it feels like with Q and with the serpent in there, did boomers, maybe this break some boomer brains?
Yeah, this is a lot of things that they are super into right now. This is called Facebook the movie. All right, Mike, which one are you going to go for, your future childhood or your previous childhood?
I'm going to go with my previous childhood, Last Unicorn.
Greg?
Yeah, Last Unicorn, baby.
I'm absolutely taking Q. Don't. look over
Yeah,
that.
Ryan is Q. You heard it here first.
The next one is my pick, Piranha 2 The Spawning, versus Peter Weir, who directed Picnic at Hanging Rock. I shouldn't tell you guys these things.
Yeah,
'cause
you shouldn't if you
I
want to
want
win.
Piranha 2 to win. The Year of Living Dangerously with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh, hell yeah. Daniel Day-Lewis.
Now,
Year of
this
Living
is
Dangerously.
like, classic, weepy, historical period piece. We don't do a ton of these.
We don't do
Is there a lot of
weepies.
yearning in this?
Mel Gibson is in it. Oh, I should note that.
Boo, Piranha 2. Piranha 2.
But this feels like kind of a biggie. Not like a real biggie, but kind of a biggie of a movie.
It's definitely a title that I've heard a lot.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if that's because of the movie or maybe it's based on a book, but
That's so many of these
It's-
82 movies.
I wake
like, oh,
up-
I've heard of that a bunch.
On January 1st of every year and say, this will be my year of living dangerously.
And then I grab some scissors, jump out of bed, and run around the house.
Let's go to the tagline game. See if you guys know which one is which. One is A Love Caught in the Fire of Revolution.
The Year of Living Dangerously.
The other one is It Started as a Vacation. ...
They got so heavy with Piranha 2 the spawning.
Oh, fuck.
Started out as a kiss. How did it end up like this? It started out as a kiss. ...
Piranha 2: The Killers. Greg, I'm looking at the Piranha 2 poster, and there's more than 2 piranhas on here.
Oh, but there's
I
also long legs and a butt.
Yeah, there's also a juicy butt.
I love horror movies. Just like, hey, there's hot ladies in here, and they're gonna die. Like, oh, that's a weird.
What do you think I'm into?
Yeah, you kind of had me there for a second, but then
Also, the picture at the top of the letterbox page is my favorite thing, which is an actress holding the monster to her face and running around going, "It's attacking me."
It is so like even in this still frame, it's so obvious that she is pressing this thing into her face.
All right, let's go to a vote. Just remember that I'm going to be very upset if this leaves, and you have to deal with that for the rest of the show. Greg, Piranha 2 or The Year of Living Dangerously?
Peter Weir and Daniel Day-Lewis, sign me up,
And
Ryan.
Mel Gibson.
Year of Living Dangerously.
Mike?
I want Daniel Day-Lewis in Piranha 2.
What if the year is so dangerous because there's piranhas everywhere?
Oh, tricked you. Yeah, I'm going to
Wait,
go.
who says that line? The piranhas?
the piranhas are everywhere.
The piranhas come up and say, I tricked you.
Tricked you.
What do you want, Mike?
The Dangerously Living.
You guys are cowards.
Yeah, we're weenies.
This is an all-time battle. And your number 19 is Creepshow, the George A. Romero anthology that Bo Taylor and Jordan said, you're fine.
Oh, wow.
Versus Swamp Thing.
I think I love you. Now, what iteration of Swamp Thing is this?
This is
OG.
Adrienne Barbeau, who was also in a Jaws ripoff called, I think, Orca,
Oh, yeah.
where the big star of that was not the whale, but the fact she didn't wear a bra and her white shirt was wet the entire time.
Okay.
That's all I know about it.
Well, it sounds interesting.
That's all you know about Swamp Thing?
All I know about Swamp Thing is that it has the chick from Orca.
I feel like we don't have to spend much time on this one because no matter what, it's going to get punted in the
It's
next
toast, dude.
round.
No matter what, these are bonus episodes or punishment episodes with the Superhero Show crew.
Punishment episodes. That's what you get for not showing up on time. You have to watch Swamp Thing.
Greg, Superhero Show got fucking brutal once you left.
Got militant. I'm going to be a Swamp Thing.
Mike?
Also, I'm voting for that one.
The other one. George A. Romero. Love him.
Oh, Creepshow?
Love him or leave him.
I'm voting for Swamp Thing. He does make my heart sing. Number 59 is A Midsummer Night's Sex Comedy, a Woody Allen Shakespeare romp.
Oh. Wah, wah.
Who is it going up against Roman Polanski? Let's fucking do this.
It's Bill Cosby and Roman Polanski's Have a Nice Weekend. We have yet to move any Woody Allen movie forward, right?
Yeah, and we're not gonna we're not gonna give that up. Like, I mean, we'll have to have a discussion when it's like Annie Hall.
In 1977,
But no.
we're gonna have to talk.
But like this,
The
we
date
get to
movie
have
version
principles.
of fucking.
No,
It's
we
going up
won't advance bananas. We won't do it because we have principles. I'm sorry, Sleeper. You have to go.
It's going up against Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh,
God, which itself is like.
But it's not problematic.
I think it is.
Well, the movie might be, but the creator isn't. Amy Heckerling, right?
Yeah.
Just a lady. How could she be problematic? It's also huge, and it gave us.
Well, I think this is a fucking slam.
Yeah,
D
slam D.
for-
Let's just-
No, I mean for the Elite Eight. I think
Yes.
Fast Times is too big.
Yeah, it's like bigger than movies,
Too
right?
impactful.
So your number 38 seed is Victor Victoria. This is the Julie Andrews movie where she dresses like a man in order to have I think a opera career or a singing career. It's going up against The Verdict, which is another Sidney Lumet movie starring Paul Newman, which is one of my all-time favorites. It also stars Bruce Willis. In
Shit.
the very back of one scene, you can see him in the courtroom. So
Be an extra in the movie.
Make $15.
I love Victor Victoria, or I not love
What
it,
if
but
that's
like
how he got a SAG card?
I'm surprised that it's this low. The Verdict fucking rules.
Yeah, I feel bad for Victor Victoria because The Verdict was like that feels like a one to advance on. Victor Victoria sounds interesting, sounds maybe important, but
I'm gonna label you as maybe important. Mike, Verdict or Victor Victoria?
The Verdict Victoria.
know,
See, you
Mike.
keep doing that, and I
That's
don't
the
know.
coward's response.
And you don't know. It's the verdict, I guess.
I know. What is it, though?
That was a real Sophie's choice.
Greg, the verdict or Victor Victoria?
Verdict.
All right. Number 12. Number 11, I'm sorry. Pink Floyd, The Wall.
Yes. Woo! Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd.
Has anybody seen this?
Yes, a lot.
Really?
I went through a very intense Pink Floyd phase, and it involved watching The Wall a few times.
Is it closer to Tommy, where it's like a musical with a plot line, or is it more like a series of vignettes?
Maybe something in between. It's a lot more like a series of music videos that are thematically linked. You know, I mean, you can tell by listening to the album that they all kind of like tell one story, but it's like sort of the interior landscape of Pink Floyd as thought of as like one performer instead of as a bunch of people, and it's about the sort of like how awful the music industry is. But yeah, it's like a series of vignettes is the way to put it.
Which one's pink?
Pink Floyd is one of those bands where, like, I'm shocked. People, they're not talked about a lot because it seems like people already know that they love them, and it goes without saying.
Yeah.
I can't believe how many Pink Floyd fans are still out there, having never gone through a phase myself.
And you know what it is? I think it's because also they draw on their references, like the music that inspired them comes from a lot of different places. So like you have jazz heads who are into Pink Floyd, and you have hard rock people who are into Pink Floyd, and then you have like stoner culture that's into Pink Floyd. That's really what got me into it, was like
all four quadrants.
Yeah. I'm not saying it has any chance to win or anything, but The Wall is interesting and it's fun, and it would be exciting to do it.
It's up against Mephisto. A German stage actor finds unexpected success and mixed blessings in the popularity of his performance in a Faustian play as the Nazis take power in pre-World War II Germany.
Oh, it's like Faust. Okay, that's interesting.
Mephisto. Why didn't they call it that?
Based on the work by Goethe, who is, and this is true, my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather.
Nice, dude.
Yeah. So,
But
I
vote
still would
against family, Greg?
yeah, because I still rather do The Wall.
Mike, Pink Floyd or Mephisto?
Yeah, I guess Pink Floyd.
And our last matchup of the first round, excuse me, number 22 is the Slumber Party Massacre. And I believe that Taylor and Jordan last week explained to us that this was supposed to be a parody of a horror movie.
It feels like half of them are supposed to
that
be.
halfway through it, they were like, no, and then just made a horror movie.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think they said queer director, queer writer, producers got their hands on it and subverted the subversion.
Producers.
But there's a scary power drill. My vote is Slumber Party Massacre.
Greg, I'll give you the other one
Nope.
that it's battling.
I like to live dangerously.
This is Rainer
for a whole year.
Fassbender's Veronica Voss.
Thank you, Veronica Voss.
So hot. Want to touch the hiney.
Correct.
And what is Veronica Voss?
In Munich, 1955, German film star Veronica Voss becomes a drug addict at the mercy of corrupt Dr. Marion Katz, who keeps her supplied with morphine.
Not Dr. Katz.
That sounds really interesting, actually. Very, very tough, but very interesting. I'm going to go with Veronica Voss, Ryan.
Yeah, me too.
Pussies.
Boocha.
So that's it, guys. We did it. We took 32 movies out. It only took like 3 or 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to take a break for like a week.
Cool
because
off.
that was a lot for all of us, right?
I'm hot under the
yeah.
collar.
Yeah.
All of my, I don't know, people dollars are spent. I cannot hang out with you guys anymore.
Out of spoons, Ryan. Out of spoons.
And you know what? I'm going to not even read the movies that are left in the bracket.
Good, yeah.
Come back next week.
Watch
It's
Don't
called
read them.
self-care.
Mike, did you keep track of bonus?
Yeah, I
babies?
did. You want to hear what the bonus?
Yeah, let's hear those.
You do it, Mike.
Up for the bonus episodes are Butcher, Baker, Soldier, Spy, Nightmare Maker, Night Shift, Smithereens, Alone in the Dark, Basket Case, Eating Raoul, Dead Man Tell No, Dead Man Don't Wear Plaid, Q the Winged Serpent, Piranha, Victor Victoria, and Slumber Party Massacre. A lot of the movies we talked about with Taylor and Jordan.
That's 32 movies. All the movies that we kicked out, Mike just listed. Instead of talking about the winners, Mike just told you about the losers. Next week, that's when it all goes down. And
Shit matters.
The three of us are going to decide what 8 movies will make up the most of the majority of our 1982 season. Until then, keep watching those fucking movies.